Saturday morning, the Experts program kicks off with Luis Alvarez, our tech expert. Good morning to you, Luis.
Good morning, Mark.
I'm doing pretty good. And yourself?
I'm doing well. Looking forward to this weekend. Football started Thursday night, and my Dolphins play on Sunday. They start the season in Foxborough playing the Patriots, which always meant Brady beating up on my Dolphins, but no Brady this year, so we'll see.
Yeah, that'll one of the interesting stories this year is what kind of team will the Patriots field without Tom Brady behind center?
Yep, and what kind of team will Tampa Bay be with Tom Brady under center? So.
Very true, very true. What's the forecast for the Finns this year?
Not great. I mean, they're in a rebuilding year. They got a young quarterback, Tua, that they picked up in the draft this year. They don't expect him to start until late this year, so probably about 5 to 6 games, kind of what they did last year.
Another rebuilding year.
Yep, forever.
Hey, let's take a look at the news in the tech world, and it has to do with electric cars, right?
Yeah, so we've gotten electric cars have gotten, especially in California, have gotten really popular largely because of Tesla. It seems like you can't go anywhere without seeing a couple of them or more. And it's been a challenge for other car manufacturers to kind of take on Tesla. But now we have a new entry into the field. A company called Lucid has a car called Lucid Air coming out next year that they just unveiled. And it's a beefier, more powerful version of the Tesla S-Class. So priced around the same amount or, the same area. So we will see if they can really take on Tesla. They're not alone. We're going to see a whole slew of new electric vehicles coming out over the next couple of years, a lot of them from traditional manufacturers like BMW, Audi, and GM.
At what point do we reach the tipping point where we get more electric cars out there than gas-powered vehicles? When do we see an electric car that's priced around like a cheapy gas-powered car that the bottom of the market can afford to buy?
Yeah, so Tesla came out with one of their cars, the latest sedan that's priced around $50,000 to $65,000. So it's up not in the super affordable range, but it's in the luxury class range, but way below their typical asking price of, 100,000 plus. And so I think when Audis and the BMWs of the world enter the fray, you're going to start seeing the price being driven down. Similarly to what you saw with solar panels. If you bought solar panels 10, 15 years ago, they were really expensive. And in terms of cost per watt of power produced, it was not the least expensive option. So those early adopters were really doing solar either because they had to because of where they lived and not having access to the grid, or because they just could afford to do it and wanted it to make a statement. But now solar power is pretty much ubiquitous and it's easy and affordable and produces power pretty cheaply compared to everything else. So I think the same thing is going to happen with electric vehicles as you start to scale manufacturing. Batteries are coming down in price and improving in performance as there's more and more research being put into battery packs. It used to be the battery pack was just a battery pack and nobody really much worried about it. But now they're trying to really develop batteries that are lighter, made with different materials. There's some, lithium ion has become the de facto standard for batteries in cars, but there are some competing products that are coming to the market which promise to have longer battery lives and be able to charge faster. So that will also drive the cost of electric cars down. So there was a report out last week that Uber and Lyft both have committed that their drivers will be completely using electric vehicles come the end of this decade, so by 2030. The problem there is that neither Uber or Lyft control the drivers. These are folks that have their own cars. So The only way you can get them to switch to electric vehicles is if the cost goes down and if Uber and Lyft create incentives for their drivers to switch to electric vehicles. But that kind of tells you the direction that we're going, that electric vehicles are here to stay and becoming more and more popular.
Well, one of the ways that an Uber or a Lyft would push their drivers into using electric vehicles is they would basically tell the driver force that, hey, as the business comes in through the app, we are going to prioritize the electric vehicle drivers over the drivers with the gas-powered cars. So if you've got a gas-powered car, you're going to be at the back of the line waiting for gigs.
Exactly. And I think doing that and then giving people the option, would you like an electric vehicle versus uses a traditional car, most people are going to pick EVs just because that's kind of the type of rider or person that uses Uber and Lyft. So they'll self-select, even if Uber doesn't prioritize them. I think most people who drive for those companies will want to move to electric vehicles.
Right. I guess the other thing, though, is I don't really expect the electric vehicles to become ubiquitous until Kia can make one.
Yeah.
I mean, when Kia can make one, like a little coupe, and sell it for $15,000, then you'll know that the internal combustion engine is pretty much done.
Yeah, you're right. There has to be a manufacturer that needs to create a car that is kind of affordable for the masses to get to that point. And who knows? Maybe somebody will. Maybe it'll be a Kia or a Ford or GM. I know Ford has talked about getting out of the traditional internal combustion engine for passenger cars by the end of this decade as well. So that could be the direction that it goes.
Well, we'll keep an eye on this and see where it all ends up heading off in. But the reality is that the cars on the road 10 years from now will look a lot different than the cars that are on the road right now.
And they're going to have a boatload of technology that will make them be faster, better, and safer.
Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group, our guest today on Power Talk Radio, 1460 and 101 FM. Online, alvareztg.com, at AlvarezTG is the Twitter handle, and Luis, the toll-free number for the I-Team.
Give us a call at 866-78-I-Team. That's 866-784-8326.